get us started with our PowerPoint this evening. All right. Can everybody see the screen, PowerPoint?
No.
No, you see me. Okay.
Yep.
Give me 1 second. I see it on my screen. Why am I not? All right, maybe. How about this? This is a good thing, folks. When we're out of practice with Zoom, that means the pandemic is so far behind, we don't remember how to do things. Would help if I picked the screen that I was trying to share. So I'm trying to share my PowerPoint screen.
Nope.
Aha! Now I
Whoa.
got it, right?
Yep.
All right. So let's get a do-over on that one. So again, this is our annual Program of Studies night. Welcome to everyone that is here in attendance on the webinar. We are very excited to welcome. I mean, this event is primarily geared towards current eighth graders and transfer students, so folks who will be new to Princeton High School for the 25-26 school year. If you are, 9th, 10th, or 11th, and you're considering transferring to us, fine that you're here as well. We're happy to have you also tonight. All right, so this is just a quick agenda. I'm not a big fan of reading to people, so you can see here tonight, these are the topics we're going to go over. Again, for those of you that maybe just jumped into the webinar, I'm going to go over the first 10 slides or so, just general information about Princeton High School, and then my colleagues on the screen here are subject area supervisors, and they will speak to you about their individual departments and the offerings in each of their departments. I introduced her earlier, but again, in case you just joined, our principal, Cecilia Burge, is here on the webinar this evening. We're very happy to have her. She has a fabulous team of assistant principals, Lauren Friedman, PHS grad, Rashawn Johnson, and Erica Murata. Similar to counselors, which I'll show you in a slide in just a moment, the assistant principals are assigned to students based on last names. So, for example, Lauren Friedman works with students last name A through G, and then Rashawn, none of us can forget, he is assigned to students H through O. So you think of water, H2O. That's how you know who has Mr. Johnson as an assistant principal. And then the end of the alphabet, students' last name P through Z have Miss Erica Murata as an assistant principal. The main office and the counseling office, where I'm located with the school counselors, they're next to each other. So we see the three of them and Miss Burge constantly throughout the day. The supervisors listed here, all but two of them are here tonight, so you will see them and hear from them. And those are the departments they supervise there. All right. Excuse me. So this is the fabulous school counseling team at Princeton High School. You can see in the upper right section of your screen, just as I was giving the breakdown of last name assignments of students to assistant principals a moment ago, you can see a similar structure for assignment of students to counselors. So that is based on the students that are currently in our system. We call it Power School. It's our student information system. Obviously, there will be a lot of fluctuation there. We have students transferring in literally from all over the world. And of course, we will have some students that are at Princeton Middle School, Cranberry School, and Princeton Charter School who will choose to go elsewhere. So, a little bit of fluctuation, chance that could change, but that's what it's looking like right now. So, if your students attend those three schools, Princeton Middle School, Princeton Charter School, or Cranberry School, there are meetings coming up where these folks will meet with your student individually to review the courses that have been requested for the 25-26 school year. So in addition to the school counselors, that's whose pictures are on your screen, and then they're listed there in the top box on the right. In addition to those folks, we have other counseling staff members. Ms. Naperna Shaw, our fabulous college and career counselor, Diana Ligas, Dean of Students, who's actually the picture in the center right, Michelle Samborski, student assistants. You can see the titles there, Dr. Andrew Dinan, Bethsaida Matos, Bethany Sadiq. And then our child study team members, these folks work with our students that have individual education plans. So there are a lot of folks in our counseling suite and child study team suite who are dedicated to working with your children as best we can and to support them in any way that we can. All right. So for those of you who are going to be new to us and not coming from one of the three schools that I will continually mention tonight, feel free to, if you haven't already, to contact our registrar, Lori Scala. She is fabulous, super dedicated member of the counseling department. She will be happy to walk you through the registration process and to schedule appointments after spring break. You can even get started by clicking on that link once this PowerPoint is posted on the website, which again should be within the next few days. You'll be able to click on that link and get started if you are going to be new to us. All right. So I think, prior to moving into my current role, I was a high school counselor for a long time. And now that I work in a K-12 capacity, I feel like one of the biggest differences from K-8 and then moving into the high school setting is, there are graduation requirements as defined by the New Jersey Department of Education. So every public school in New Jersey has to follow just about all of these. Now, I say just about all these because the Princeton Public School District does have a few unique graduation requirements towards the bottom there, the racial literacy requirement and the community service requirement. So not all public schools in New Jersey require community service in order to earn a diploma, but we feel very strongly that that is important, and therefore it is a requirement here. And the big number on the left where it says total credits 120 with the exclamation point, that is the goal. This is something that counselors will monitor as students progress from 9, 10, 11, 12 to make sure that students are remaining on track, fulfilling requirements, earning sufficient credits. You can kind of see there simple math, 30, 60, 90, 120, just to keep it easy. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it is, again, just kind of keeping it simple. And then as far as, it says US History 10 credits. All right, so we have US History 1 and then US History 2. Mathematics, it just says math. Obviously, that can go anywhere from Algebra 1 to multivariable calculus. So this is where, having a school counselor who really knows students individually and knows, exactly where each student is and where they're headed, and they know these requirements inside and out, they could recite them without looking, we'll be happy to monitor your students' progression as they move through high school. All right. In addition to the academic graduation requirements, if you will, the state of New Jersey also stipulates that students must pass an assessment. Currently, that's the NJGPA, the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment, which has a math component and an English component. That is taken in the spring of 11th grade. Excuse me. The New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, the NJSLA, is taken in 9th grade. So there are some state testing requirements that students must fulfill in addition to all those course requirements and credit requirements. And then attendance, obviously it seems kind of like it goes without saying, but, you need to be in school to get the education that we're trying to provide. So there are rules about, coming to school and lates and tardies and all that sort of thing. And, not only is that a compliance measure so that we, are fulfilling our obligation to that's set forth by the state of New Jersey, but it's also teaching young people good habits about, punctuality and good attendance, which is a lifelong skill. All right. So I just went through kind of an overview of the graduation requirements, right? So the bell schedule here, and it might seem a little overwhelming to you, depending on where you're coming from, but the bell schedule gives you kind of a good overview of what the days look like at Princeton High School. So the simplest thing I can do is to start with the Monday, Thursday, Friday. We call them A1 Tiger Day and A4. You can see that right there in the image on your screen. For those of us of a certain age on this webinar tonight, myself included, you might remember or think about like an 8-period day, right? There is a slight rotation here between the A1 and Tiger Day. You'll notice A4 starts with fourth period. So, a little bit different just to kind of keep things, um, students that maybe do have attendance issues. We just talked about attendance a second ago. Having the first period of the day be different is helpful to not be missing the same thing over and over. Or folks that schedule early doctors or dentist appointments, it's good to not miss the same thing. And at the end of the day, we get emails almost every day about various sports and activities that have to leave the building early to get to the competition or event on time. So it's nice that those students don't miss the same uh, period every day. So the Monday, Thursday, Friday, again, kind of being, you can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes right now, traditional school where you have, approximate 45-minute periods. I know they're 44, 36, and 44. So kind of thinking about school the way it was done for a long time. And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we call these our block days. That's what the B stands for, B2, B3. These are 90 minutes, right? They're lengthy, but teachers are, good about giving breaks as needed and differentiating. We call differentiating when they're, trying different techniques to get to all different learners. It is a long time, but it also, I think it's a matter of perspective. It's a great amount of time to be able to do a lot of good work with young people. So, it's also very helpful for lab activities and things like that take time to set up, break down, and obviously carry out the experiment. So, this is the schedule at Princeton High School. Like anything new, I've worked in 3 different school districts. It's always a transition from 8th grade to 9th grade, or if you're transferring to be a new student in a new place with a new bell schedule, it's a little bit of an adjustment. But after I would say the first week, and I don't think I'm not exaggerating or just trying to make you feel better, I don't think it takes very long. I think students very quickly figure it out. They, follow the crowd, they follow the older kids, and they get where they need to go. And for the first, bit of time, teachers are understanding of that transition period and helping kids get where they need to go and being a little bit, more relaxed about, timeliness. All right. So in the next 2 slides, I'm going to kind of fast forward because I think it's important to know what great opportunities there are, not only here, which you're going to hear from my colleagues tonight, but also the partnerships that we have. So on this screen, we're going to talk about Mercer County Technical Schools, and in a moment, we're going to talk about our neighbors at Princeton University. So Mercer County Technical Schools. Fantastic partner for us and other public schools in Mercer County, where students that may have more of a you might hear the term CTE, career technical education. I really, to be honest, don't hear the terms VOTEC anymore. It seems kind of like an outmoded term, so I don't hear it very much anymore. But maybe that's a term that you might think of. This is maybe the reason that term doesn't exist anymore is because it's not your grandpa's VOTEC, right? I mean, you look at the bottom there. Over 90% of MCTS students are going to continue after. So this is where students are not only going to high school, fulfilling all those requirements that I showed you a minute ago, but they are looking to not only learn the trade that they're going to MCTS for in order to learn, they are often, in most cases, going to continue their education beyond the high school level. So they are going to pursue some type of post-secondary training, whether it's, trade school or, college and beyond. So fabulous option. This opens up to students in the junior year, but it's really good to work with a counselor as a freshman or sophomore to make sure that requirements are being fulfilled, to talk about the application process, and to build up to this so that there's a lot of freedom in the schedule. Because when we do what's called share time, students spend half the day at Princeton High School and then half the day at Mercer County Technical School. Not only are all seven of the school counselors at Princeton High School familiar with this program, one of our counselors, Mr. Philippone, is our MCTS liaison. So he's a school counselor at the high school, at Princeton High School, but he also is intimately familiar with this program. He is our connection. He is our link to them. He is like our go-to. If I have questions about MCTS, I go to him. So, if your children have any questions about this, it's something they want to pursue as they get older, and their own counselor, maybe can't answer a question, which I would doubt, but if they can't, they would probably ask him to join the conversation or maybe email him. And, he almost always knows the answer or he'll get the answer for us. Great program. Can't say enough good things about it. All right. One that generates interest all the time. The opportunity for students throughout Mercer County to be able to take courses at Princeton University. So, yes, for those of you who didn't know, this is not a program that is unique to Princeton High School. This is open to other schools in Mercer County as well. The university, as you can see here, sets pretty high standards, as you can imagine. They are there to make sure that students will have a good experience and be able to be successful in those courses, which, as you can imagine, they are not easy, hence the stringent requirements to get there. I believe we only had about 20 students taking classes at the university in the fall, the semester that ended just before winter break, and we have less than that continuing in this semester now. So highly selective, takes a lot of preparation to get there. Again, similar to what I was just saying about MCTS a second ago, students can and should, feel free to mention to their Princeton High School counselor if this is a goal and something they want to work towards being able to do in the junior or senior year. All right, so you guys have heard a lot from me. Wow, 25 minutes. I talk too much. So I am going to introduce, I'll kind of play MC as we go through here. I'm controlling the PowerPoint, so they might, give me a little wink or nudge to advance their slides. But we're going to now hear from each of my colleagues in the various departments that are listed on your screen. Again, I'll jump in on behalf of Mr. Dubinsky and Ms. Riddick, but here we go. And we have Ms. Keisha Smith-Carrington up from the Humanities Department to talk about the offerings in this content area.
Okay, thank you, John. As he said earlier, there are 20 credits that are required in English, which is one of the two content areas in humanities. And on the left side, you can see, or actually in the middle, if you don't include the header, you can see the courses that are required. So each year that students are in high school, they are required to take an English course that is either the core English course for the general level, which English 1, 2, 3, or 4. In 11th grade, there are the beginnings of two AP options. So 11th grade and 12th grade students can either take the general level course or they can take an AP course. And the requirements to be in the AP course are in the program of studies. And then you can see on the right side that there are electives that are open to students for all 4 years. However, the ones that have an asterisk next to them are the ones that freshmen or first year students are eligible to take. So if there is no asterisk, that means that that course is not open for students in their first year in the high school. Also, in the English department, you will see that we have courses to assist students who need additional support in order to achieve the standards for the grade level. And so the first year of high school, that course is called English Plus. And that course, there are multiple measures that are used to determine whether or not students are eligible for that support, which include the NJSLA for grade 8, grades from their English course, as well as teacher recommendation. And we also in district have some other assessments that are used if a student is coming from out of district, then those are the core assessments that are used to make that determination. And so as we look over to the next content area in the humanities department or social studies, you will see that there are 15 credits or 3 courses that are required. And those courses are U.S. History 1 and 2, or in 10th grade, students can take a push or advanced placement U.S. History. In 11th grade, students can take either World History and Cultures, or they can take the AP World History option. As with the English courses, once you get to those AP levels, the program of studies does explain what the requirements are for students to be able to take an advanced course. You will also see that, unlike the English side, on the social studies side of the humanities department, there are no electives for students to be able to take their first year in high school or their freshman year. So there are many electives, including this year for the first time, we had a dual enrollment course for Sociology 101 with TC&J. Previously, we had accelerated sociology. The change for this year, as I said, was that it is also now a course that can actually help students acquire college credits. Other than that, all of the other courses that you see are courses that are open to students in their second through fourth years of high school. And so on the next slide, you will see how you can contact me if you have any questions or concerns regarding your student's placement. As was already said, the first stop is always with your student's guidance counselor. So please feel free to make sure that your student asks any questions and you ask any questions during that meeting. Placement decisions will be based on data that's available in March, and there will be adjustments made as necessary based on the data for your student. If your student's grades were to fall for any reason, then there might be some changes once we get to those higher grade levels. But for the first year, again, it's English 1 and U.S. History 1. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Keisha. Much appreciated. And now over to Tiffany Brennan for Math, Business, and Computer Science.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I just wanted to start with these 8 mathematical practices set forth by the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics. I'm not going to read them all to you, but you can see that none of them says solve math facts really quickly. None of them say become a human calculator or advance through as many math classes as you possibly can as quickly as possible. They all talk about creating thinkers and kids who can think critically, critique the reasoning of others, persevere, use tools in math, look at patterns and structure, and model mathematics with mathematics. These are the skills that we want students to apply and learn as they progress through our math courses. We're not just looking to build little human calculators or big ones. We are looking for kids to become thinkers. So our next slide shows some of the typical course progressions in math. We have so many different progressions that kids go through that it would take us 8 or 10 slides to go through all of the different options. In Princeton, most of our students take Algebra 1 in 8th grade. In fact, all of them that go to Princeton Middle School take Algebra 1 or maybe more by the time they're in 8th grade. And students that come to us from other schools, whether it's Princeton Charter or Cranberry or other schools throughout the country and even the world, may not take Algebra 1 until they get to 9th grade, which is definitely a-okay. The course progression is the same regardless of where your starting point is or when your starting point is. We do Algebra 1 and then geometry, Algebra 2, pre-calculus, and onto AP Calc or some level of calculus or statistics, you can see that, you know, there's lots of different paths. We have different levels in not in Algebra 1, but in geometry, Algebra 2, and pre-calculus, we have a regular level college preparatory class, and we also have an accelerated course. And then when we get to calculus, we have calculus. We have AP Calculus AB, which is equivalent to 1 semester in college calculus, and we have AP Calculus BC, which is equivalent to the first 2 semesters of college calculus. At that point, some of our students are advanced enough that they will go on to take multivariable calculus and linear algebra, and then progress to perhaps some kids go on and take a class at Princeton University. I do want to emphasize that there's really no rush through mathematics. We had a couple examples just last week, unfortunately, of kids who did rush through the process, and they scored very well along the way, but they got to Princeton University as juniors, and Princeton's hard. Princeton University is hard, and they require our students to get a grade of a B or better in order to stay. And, you know, even at Princeton University, for some reason, they think a B- is not okay. And so we have kids that are really now in a situation where they're out of math classes to take in high school and are having to get a little bit creative about what they can do so that they can continue learning math and look as strong as possible when they do their college applications as seniors. On the other end, we also have some students that struggle with math. It's not everyone's favorite subject, which we understand. And you can all be successful regardless of how much we love it. But when we have kids that struggle, just like in the English department, we do have plus classes offered for Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. We are going to start in this scheduling season. It's going to be the first time that we are going to automatically put students in Geometry Plus or Algebra 2 Plus if they have a D or an F in their previous math course at mid-year. If they improve a lot, we're happy to take them out of it. If we have kids that falter afterwards and start to struggle, we can certainly add more kids. And then students can waive out of it. Parents can waive their child out of those courses. But we do want to make sure that we are helping the kids who need it, because as Mr. McMichael said earlier, that New Jersey graduation proficiency assessment assesses kids on Algebra 1 and geometry skills. And at this point, a passing score on that test is required in order to graduate high school. So we want to offer kids support where we can. Our Algebra 1 Plus class is going to just be a 1 semester class in the second half of the year. And so we will begin by putting all of our students who are in Algebra 1, we'll put it in their schedules. And then as we see which kids are really successful, we'll put in their schedules for the spring. And as the fall progresses, kids that are really successful, we will take out of that class and add an elective. We tried to do it the other way this year and just add it for the students who need it, and found that it gets really tricky to do that after the fact. So we're trying to plan ahead a little bit. Another thing worth noting is that there's no self-studying allowed, meaning that if you want to advance through math at a quicker pace, you can't just study on your own or take a class online or something and then say, hey, I'm ready. Do you have a placement test for me? The district requires that you take a class with Princeton Public Schools. And we offer some in the summer as well, but you do have to take a class to move on from there. And then you can see on the right side here is our computer science progression. Computer science is not a requirement at Princeton High School, but it is very popular. And so we have some requirements. You have to have finished Algebra 1 in order to take a computer science class. And there are on the left side of our computer science course progression, you can see we have in order you would take, if you were interested in taking all of them, would be Python, and then the 2 semester Java classes, and then an AP Computer Science A, followed by algorithms and data structures. You could take AP Computer Science principles at any point along the way. It's not necessary to take both Python and AP Computer Science principles. You learn the Python content while you're learning AP Computer Science principles. Certainly don't have to take all of them, but we have many kids who really want to. And our last math slide just has a little bit more of my contact information. And just like Ms. Smith Carrington said earlier, our March recommendations are initial placements, and we will review them, of course, as the spring goes on, just to make sure that kids are still appropriately placed. And already just last week, we put information about the summer math opportunities on the district's website, and I emailed those to the Cranberry School and Princeton Charter School just this morning. So if they haven't put something on their websites, they may do that soon as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Tiffany. Much appreciated. And Miss Jackie Katz, the newest member of the team on your screen tonight, supervisor of the science department.
Thank you, Mr. McMichael. I'm really happy to be here. I just started in this role at the beginning of the year in January, but I have taught at the high school for quite some time, so I'm excited to kind of talk you through what we have available. And like Miss Brennan started, what we have on the slide right here are just some of the science practices that we really stress in all of our classes across the grade levels and across the scientific disciplines. And in the same manner as math, these skills and practices take time to develop, so there is no rush to move through our science classes. In every class, both core classes and electives, we really want to highlight developing scientific thinkers that could take those practices beyond the classroom and use it in their lives as they continue to navigate beyond PHS. So the next slide has some of our course offerings, and typically, students will enter into PHS taking life science, typically biology, and we have two levels of that, either Biology 1, which is your standard college prep level, or Biology Accelerated. And if you currently have an 8th grader, you may have heard recently, I know PHS or PMS did it last week, took a placement test, which we have used for several years with great success to find out what level is most appropriate for your learner. So the students take a placement test in their 8th grade year, and the teachers of their 8th grade science class provide us with recommendations, and our 9th grade high school biology teachers will grade those tests and analyze the data to come up with the best placement for your student. And as was mentioned before, we know it's early in the year, so original recommendations will be reviewed towards the end of the year. Once the life science requirement is met in their freshman year, which is a graduation requirement, the students have more options available to them. They need 3 years of a science, but it's kind of a design your own adventure from the life science requirement. Most students will move from biology into a physical science, which could be either chemistry or physics. Some students will opt to go into environmental science. And then from there, we have a ton of science electives available, ranging from our advanced placement classes to just some of our deeper content electives, things like genetics, anatomy and physiology, sustainable environmental systems, innovation and engineering. So there's a lot of options. Sure, AP options are great, and they go into greater depth of the content that was taken in either our biology, chemistry, or physics class. The electives highlight content usually outside of those core disciplines, or content that is a combination of those core science disciplines. So they really provide unique opportunities for students to explore the sciences. A course that's not included on the flowchart, but that is available, is our science research program. It's available to students starting their sophomore year. They would apply around December of their freshman year. So if it's something your student is interested in, they'll hear about it from their ninth grade science teacher, and be able to apply via an application, a small writing prompt, and then a problem solving task, and then enter in their 10th grade year. If for some reason they weren't interested as a ninth grader, or they weren't accepted as a ninth grader, they do have the opportunity to apply again in their sophomore year. It's a 2-year program, so you could do it sophomore, junior year, or junior, senior year. It will fit in. But it's really a great way for students to explore a scientific topic that might be outside of the course offerings that we have. And then, so just a few reminders. Yes, we have many, many great course offerings, but there's a large number of science-related extracurriculars that your students may opt to explore. Science Olympiad, Science Bowl, Odyssey of the Mind. We have clubs like STEM Roots, which really kind of have students thinking about the sciences in really unique and interesting ways. And like was mentioned before, our March recommendations are our initial recommendations, and we know that the year or our students can change a lot from March to June, so we will recognize that and adjust accordingly. And if you have any questions about our science offerings, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you very much, Ms. Katz.
Yeah, John, would you please go on to Patrick, and I'll get back in a second.
Yeah, sure. No
Okay.
problem. Mr. Lenahan,
Good
Visual and
evening,
Performing Arts.
everybody. Thank you so much, Mr. McMichael. And on behalf of all of us in the Arts Department, welcome to Princeton High School. We have one of the most highly regarded VPA programs in the state and arguably the country. We have some exceptional teachers who really push our students to their full potential. And for this reason, our students tend to take more than the minimum required 5 credits required by the state of New Jersey. We're really proud that there's a place for every student in our program. In each of the 4 arts disciplines, there's an introductory level course, not necessarily an easy course, but one that will meet students at their level and help them to move to the next. The PHS program of studies can be overwhelming. Some students want to take every course that we offer in the catalog in their first year. Sometimes students will ask, can I take 2 arts classes? Maybe choir and drama, or maybe art and orchestra? And the answer is yes. Maybe not every year, but it is possible to take more than 1 arts course. When the question becomes, can I take band, choir, orchestra, art, drama, dance, computer science, and all the other courses in the catalog, the answer is unfortunately no. You will have to make some choices, and I'm here tonight to explain what some of those choices are. In visual art, all freshmen and new students interested in this area should take Studio Art 1. This is a 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional experience. The course is appropriate for all students, no matter where they are in their level of experience, and it's part of a sequence that prepares students for the collegiate level should they choose to pursue study at art school. We explore techniques and conceptual ideas, and this is a full-year course that meets every day. As I said, there's a sequence of critical skills. We don't permit jumping of levels, and all students start at Studio 1, so they don't miss any of those critical steps, processes, or mediums. Please be assured that we meet all students where they are and challenge them to their fullest potential. For your future planning, we begin college portfolio prep in our Studio 2 level classes. For our theater program, as a freshman, you're eligible for the Drama 1 class, and there's no audition required. Students may choose either Drama 1 acting or Drama 1 musical theater, depending on where their passions lie. Those students with extensive past acting experience may consider auditioning for Drama 2 as a freshman, but most students will have a rich and rewarding experience in Drama 1. Each of our drama classes has a public performance. The Drama 1 class typically produces a short in-class production in May. In addition, all students can audition for our fall play and spring musical, even those students who aren't enrolled in a drama class. These productions require extensive after-school commitment. There are also opportunities for students to be on the student tech crew to aid in set design, lighting, sound, and stage crew. Dance is a really exciting class, also a full year class, and there is no audition required. We study various dances from ballroom to Latin to contemporary dances, and there are also opportunities for student choreography. Just like all of the performing arts classes, you can repeat this class year after year as the repertoire changes each year. John, if you could go on to the next slide, thank you. In our music program, questions usually arise about auditions, which for this year are all going to be held in February and March. In our band program, we do require a placement audition for every student so that your student can be placed in the appropriate ensemble. Our band directors will visit Princeton Middle School, Cranberry School, and Charter School sometime in March and will audition every band student. Students coming from another school, we ask that you please email Mr. Bon Jovi, and his email address is josephbonjovi@princetonk12.org. Because of the exceptional quality of the program, there is some competition for some of the ensembles, and it is sometimes tough. But please be assured that you will be placed fairly, and your placement will give you the most appropriate experience so that you can continue to improve. For orchestra, there are two ensembles that are open to freshmen, Repertoire Orchestra and Symphonia. There is no audition required for Repertoire Orchestra, but you must audition for Symphonia. In order to audition, please email Mr. Lauren to schedule a private audition sometime in March. Choir is very easy. There is no audition required. Our soprano and alto voices all join Chorale 1, and our tenor and bass voices all join Chorale 2. We invite you to come and see one of our concerts or plays or attend an art show so you can find out more about our program, and it will help you to start to make some of those choices. Again, welcome to PHS, and I look forward to seeing you continue to grow over the next 4 years.
Awesome stuff, Mr. Lenihan. Thank you so much. I'm going to step in here for Ms. Riddick, our special education supervisor. So, for instance, just like you've heard from several of my colleagues today, every single person on this webinar tonight does the very best they can to help students to their utmost ability. And the same is true for Ms. Riddick and her team in the office, which is the child study team, the case managers that work with students and are the custodians of the students' individual education plans or IEPs, as well as the special education teachers who are spread across, every content area throughout the building. As you can see here, the students with IEPs, their schedules are basically, individually tailored to meet all of their specific learning needs and be able to provide for all the support that's required to accommodate based on their disability, and to provide accommodations. So, that's very few words to say quite a lot of time and effort and work that goes into supporting these learners. Ms. Riddick and her team do fabulous work every single day. Her name, contact information are there should you have any questions. And the case managers who are right down the hall from myself and the school counselors, will be doing transition planning to aid students coming from 8th grade to 9th grade that have an IEP. So be on the lookout for more on that. All right. So, So I gotta go back into my past and put on my coaching hat. I used to be a track and field coach for any of our folks in the audience that enjoy running and that sort of thing, running, jumping, and throwing. So athletics. A wonderful addition to the learning atmosphere at Princeton High School. A lot of rules, as you can imagine. The New Jersey Interscholastic Athletic Association, the NJSIAA, right there, is the governing body in the state that oversees all high school sports. The good news is that all 9th graders coming into PHS are eligible from day one. So if you participate in a fall sport, you kind of have a free pass. Beyond that, there are eligibility requirements. You can see there in the third bullet. Basically, students need to be passing most of their classes, which is what we would hope anyway. But, when I was a coach, I used to always say that, you're a student athlete, not athlete student. School comes first, get your work done, pass your classes, do everything your teachers need you to do, and we'll be okay. We won't have to worry about it. As you can imagine, a lot of the athletic processes happen on a computer nowadays. So, trying to get set up with your district device and email accounts. Obviously, if you have a question, student or parent, guardian about an athletic, team or sport tryout, any of those kind of questions, certainly contact Mr. Dubinsky from any email account you have access to, or pick up the phone and give him a call. So lots of rules for transfers. I don't know how many folks are in the audience that have a student considering transferring who's already in high school. Definitely want to give him a call if the student has played sports at their school where they currently attend, just to make sure that exactly, you're making an informed choice, so to speak. All right. Eighth graders at PMS, impact testing. Mr. Dubinsky is great. And obviously this is, in district. And I'm sure that, he'll communicate the same to Princeton Charter and to Cranberry as well. Mr. Dubinsky does a great job of communicating athletic information. I'm copying a lot of those emails, so I see them myself. And he does a great job of pushing out all the information, trying to get as many students that are interested in athletics to be able to participate. Physical forms, need to have those every year, every 365 days. So something to bear in mind if any students are going to participate in high school sports. If it's been a while, definitely want to get that done. And I know I have kids of my own. It's sometimes tough to get those appointments, so you might want to jump on that sooner rather than later. Yes, vacation planning. We've heard at several points in the presentation tonight, we academically are preparing for summer, especially in the math and science departments, counseling as well. I bet all of my colleagues on the webinar tonight are preparing for summer. So it's no different in athletics. Mr. Dubinsky would like everyone to be aware for planning purposes, vacations, trips, that sort of thing, that preseason begins in August. So please, 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 as you are making vacation plans, try to stay away from August if your child is interested in a sport. And then, kind of bringing it back to my neck of the woods, any students considering, primarily Division I, Division II, the NCAA has a lot of guidelines at the Division I, Division II level in terms of, being a prospective student athlete at the college level. Again, primarily Division I, Division II, but even Division III, certainly want to come talk to your counselor, and we can make sure that you are moving similar to, moving and putting yourself in a position to be accepted by colleges and universities, if that's your goal. If you tell your counselor it's your goal to play a sport in college, they will help you, guide you along that path as well, so that hopefully you're eligible to pursue that goal. All right. So
now, John, I can talk. I just have to leave my screen off. So
sure.
Sorry.
No worries.
Well,
there you go.
Okay, here we are. Apologies, everybody, for the darkened screen. So we have an extensive world languages program at the high school. As you can see, we offer 6 languages. And for 5 of those languages, we can start at level 1 and go up to AP. And for French and Spanish, we go beyond AP to a cinema course. So we have lots of offerings in each language. For instance, in Spanish, I have 12 different levels for students, and in French, there are 10 different levels. Our goal is for students to develop communicative, not only competence, but confidence in using their language. And we do that by having kids start talking right from the very first day that they're in a language. To me, it's very exciting, because back when I learned Spanish, I didn't want to use it. I was afraid to use it. And now we just see our kids talking all the time. So as you can see, and I think a previous slide had also said this, there's a 1-year state requirement for language. And you can't develop much proficiency in 1 year. So our students often are taking 3 or 4 years of one language and sometimes 2 languages. Every once in a while, we have somebody who wants to study 3 languages while at Princeton High School. So it's pretty exciting. I am going to be going over to the middle school on Monday, and I'll meet with all 8th graders in 6 different sections, talk to them about the offerings we have at the high school and answer. They're always interesting and very varied questions that they may have about languages or just life at the high school. So I'll do that on Monday. Students in 8th grade will, in all 3 schools, the charter school and Cranberry and the Princeton Middle School, will all receive a recommendation, a placement recommendation from their teacher. And as you've heard from other supervisors, this is an initial recommendation. I'll tell the kids on Monday that if your recommendation is lower than you'd like it, well, you have, almost half a year to say, get your act together and improve in the language. Or it could go the other way. If you think, oh, well, I've got the recommendation I wanted, then, and you stop working, then when the teachers revisit these recommendations in May, there may be some changes. So please just keep that in mind. And as you see, when you meet with the guidance counselor, the counselors will place students in the course for which they're recommended, not a higher level and not a lower level. Okay. Anybody who's taking a beginning level of a class who hasn't had any experience in that language, they're open to everyone. And there's, of course, no placement involved in that. I believe that the Power School will open for 8th graders fairly soon, and you won't see language middle school until March 5th. That's when I'm going to put them up. So, the next slide. So this is important. And a little bit complicated. So students who have proficiency in Latin, Mandarin, and Japanese, those are 3 of our languages there, and Italian, who wish to study these languages at the high school. Parents, please send me an email. Don't call me, send me an email, and I will set you and your student up with the appropriate teacher at the high school for a placement evaluation. And this is very important that you do this before meeting with your guidance counselor. So then you can go into the guidance meeting. This is the recommendation I have for Italian or for Mandarin, and we're all set for next year then. Students, as I had said, are welcome to take 2 languages to study, or even 3. And students who are coming from schools other than the middle school, Cranberry or charter, they'll meet with one of our language teachers for an evaluation. And it's not an exam, it's an interview and an essay that students will write. But that's important before you are able to register for a language class if you're coming new into the district. I want to talk just a little bit about our ESL program. We have a very vibrant program now. We've been able to expand it in the last few years, and every department has courses that are either only for ESL students or are co-taught classes, or have supports for ESL students in them. It's very exciting that there are so many offerings now. And my final slide is talking about students who are coming from 8th grade and who are in the dual language immersion program. So in the past couple of years, we've been able to send our Spanish teachers over to the middle school to meet with each student in the DLI program to make a placement recommendation. So students will be writing an essay and they'll be having an interview. And we hope that's going to take place near the end of February. I'll have to set that up. And at the high school, then, when students in the DLI program arrive, they'll be placed in one of our many Spanish courses. And we also have a class that's co-listed with science, La Horticultura, which is a Spanish language class. It's open to anybody who speaks Spanish, and it fulfills the life science requirement. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Russell. Much appreciated. Just in case I cannot forget to mention this, I'm just going to throw it in now. Mrs. Russell talked about PowerSchool, our student information system. So for anybody on the webinar tonight that has older children that are already at Princeton High School, so current 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, that portal to request courses for next year is open right now. It opened January 9th and closes February 9th. Makes it nice and easy to remember. The purpose of that is the high school counselors will begin meeting with students on Monday, February 10th. So you can see the window is open and it closes right so they can go into those meetings with students and view those requests. For current 8th grade students at PMS Cranberry Charter, the PowerSchool portals will open on February 9th. So yes, the same day they close for the high school kids, it'll open for you guys, and it will be open again for a month, February 9th to March 9th. And that is because on Monday, March 10th, the Princeton High School counselors are going to go across the street to Princeton Middle School and meet with students that week. And then March 25th and 26th, the Princeton High School counselors are going to Cranberry and Charter. I'm not sure which order, but they will be visiting Cranberry and Charter on those 2 days. And then pretty much the work of guiding students through the course request process gets passed off to my lovely colleagues on the webinar tonight, where they can begin the painstaking work of, digesting all that data and how many students have requested the various course offerings that we have, which determines teachers and classes and courses and books and all that kind of planning that needs to occur throughout the month of April. Okay, so a quick just example of a very common 9th grade list of courses that you might want to request once the PowerSchool portals open on February 9th. Miss Smith-Carrington mentioned earlier, everybody takes English every year, so that's pretty easy. And especially in 9th grade, it's English 1 is the only choice, unless you have any specific learning needs, IEP, that sort of thing. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but this would be a very common 9th grade list of courses to ask for the 25-26 school year. And we do ask for all students currently in 8th grade all the way through currently in 11th grade to enter 3 to 5 backup courses. And we ask for that in case there are what we call conflicts in your schedule. So for just, whatever reason, and there could be many of them, the courses that you want, they all don't line up the way you want them to. And really, I'm mostly talking about electives. Everybody's going to have an English, and they're going to have a math, and they're going to have a bio in 9th grade. You're going to have a history in 9th grade. So really, it's your electives, just because that's where things it's like putting a puzzle together. It only goes together in so many ways. All right. So for our PMS students and families, your PowerSchool is our PowerSchool. It's all the Princeton Public School District's same PowerSchool system. Cranberry and Princeton Charter School, you use PowerSchool as well, but you are in your own, they call it an instance. You're in your own instance of PowerSchool, which is separate from ours. So you should have already, if you have not yet, it'll be coming soon, received an invitation to become part of our PowerSchool system so that you can make these requests. I have to check with our technology folks to make sure that if it hasn't happened, that it will be happening soon. I talked about the dates already. I talked about 3 to 5 alternate requests, again, just in case there's any conflicts, and which PowerSchool will pull from those. So these are viable options, right? These are courses where, okay, it might not be my top choice, but I'd be willing to take them if I have to. And that's just in case PowerSchool has any issues putting the course schedule together, and it just, can fix it on its own by pulling in some of these alternates if needed. All right, the program of studies. So I mentioned it earlier, and if I don't have the link in here already, I'll make sure that I pull the screen up so you know what it looks like and you can get to it. But the program of studies booklet, it's over 70 pages, of just a wealth of information about all the courses we offer tonight. Pretty much every course that one of my colleagues talked about, you can read a description about it. You can find the prerequisites. There was a question tonight in the Q&A that I answered about prerequisites. So the question was specifically in regards to our advanced placement or AP courses. There are stipulations on certain courses, not all, but there are many, and you just have to look for the word prerequisite so you know. Some of the prerequisites, just to be aware of, limit what grade you are in. So, for example, certain courses might only be open to juniors or seniors. You have to make your way through and get to that level before you can take a course. Some stipulate a certain grade in a certain course prior to the course you want to take. So you have to be very careful of those prerequisites, which again are listed in the program of studies. All right. So this is what the PowerSchool portal looks like, where you will go in and actually request courses. All right. So you're going to click on that pencil icon over here. It'll open up a box. So if you click on the one for English, it'll open up a box, and there'll be very few offerings there just because, it's really English 1, as we talked about several times tonight. Math, there'll be a lot of options because you could be anywhere from Algebra 1 to multivariable calculus, but not rushing. All right. So this is what it looks like when you click the pencil, and you can see here, the different offerings and these little descriptions to kind of help you make the right decision. Okay, just things to pay attention to. Be mindful of these as you're going through. Be sure to click OK. If you hit X or click outside and it closes, it might not record your choice. So just be mindful of that as you're going through and doing this and entering these course requests. All right, so just kind of a general timeline. So I've tried to share with you already, and I will continue to do so on this slide. There are reasons for these dates. They're not just picked out of a hat. So again, I said the PowerSchool will open on the 9th. I'll send an email to everyone in the PMS Charter and Cranberry. And the reason for this is, most of our students come from Princeton Middle School, and then our PHS counselors will be going to visit on March 10th. So that is why this closes on the 9th, so that those selections have been made. Here's Cranberry, March 25th, Charter, March 26th. Couldn't remember that earlier, but I'm glad it's there. All right. And then after that, we really need to kind of lock things down so that my colleagues on the webinar tonight are able to do their work. By leaving things open and just continuing to accept, I want to drop this, add that, change this, change that, it makes it really hard for them to do what they need to do. I keep saying it's like hitting a moving target. So, this is why we're having this event tonight while it's, still kind of mid-January, so that you have time to peruse that program of studies booklet. You have obviously participated in the webinar tonight, or you're going to watch it later. It's important. These are important decisions. We feel like this timeline is fair for all of our students and families, but it's also fair for our teachers and the supervisors that are on this webinar as well. All right. So just if that's not important enough, let's kind of try to project forward a little bit and think about, another reason why it's important to try to, get this right and done in a timely manner and done as best as we possibly can. Because, once school opens and schedules are released, it's very difficult in certain instances to make the changes that a student might want. Certain, classes might be filled up or, um, again, there just aren't many, depending on what the course is, there just aren't many of them. So it just might not be possible to line classes up the way they want to. So always better to be proactive than reactive. And that's the point we're trying to make with this slide here. Again, trying to make changes. There are certain timelines for that, which are listed in the program of studies, when it is okay to do what, and when it is not okay. Reasons for all of that as well. So please, 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 if you're here tonight, then I'm probably preaching to the choir. You're obviously, concerned about this process and you want to learn as much as you can and make informed choices and do it to the best of your ability. So, just please try to do the best you can and don't be afraid to ask questions. I think everybody tonight has put their email address on there. The counselors are super responsive. Myself, assistant principals, Miss Burge, I mean, everybody will do whatever they can to try to help. So again, this might seem like, really far from now. And if you're a student on this webinar tonight, this might as well be, light years from now. But it's just to demonstrate that, there are limitations on what can be done and when it can be done once schedules open. So right now, when you get into PowerSchool on February 9th, there's a lot of choices. There's a lot of things that you can click on and really, the world is your oyster, as some like to say. So, just really go ahead, get in there, get in that program of studies, get on PowerSchool and just start clicking things, make the most of that month so that we maybe don't have to worry about this slide when school starts back up next year. All right. So these are just some of the reasons, students come into the office and the counseling office and say, well, I don't want that class in the morning, or I'd rather have certain class in the afternoon, or, I've heard such and such is a good teacher, my older brother or sister or my neighbor, obviously those are not, I don't know any schools that would entertain those kind of requests. Please be on the lookout. And again, as you're making plans for vacation, it's going to be the last week of August. Is our orientation. So a fantastic event, very well attended. Students have their schedules already by then, and it's still just a super well attended event just to, be in the high school, walk around the building, just get acclimated before the first day of school, learn about different clubs and activities and extracurriculars. So many of my colleagues tonight talked about, the various wonderful offerings that the school has in addition to all the academics. So, please mark orientation on the calendar. That date, I will look into that tomorrow to find out. I know there's a date kind of thrown around. Just want to make sure that's finalized before we get that out there, but we will do so soon so that you can hopefully plan around it, because it's a wonderful way to kick off students' high school career. All right. So just general, again, a lot of my colleagues have shared their own personal email addresses, but this is the general convention for reaching out to anyone at Princeton High School. First name, last name, no period, no space, no underscore, nothing like that, at princetonk12.org. That is the main number there where you can, access the directory or get to any of the offices where there will be a secretary who can point you in the right direction. And then obviously at the very top is our website. So what I would like to show you really quickly just before, and this will probably be our last thing for this evening, is where you can find the program of studies. So if you go to the Princeton High School website, our tech folks were kind enough to put a button right here on the homepage, course planning for the 24-25 school year. You can click on that. And this is the booklet itself. All of us on this call put quite a bit of time and energy into revising this every year. You would think that, that not much would change from year to year, but, quite an impressive, I think it's a quite impressive thing that we put so much time into this because, we're just always trying to strive for the best for our students. So, please, 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 I don't know, maybe to some of you, it might not be the most exciting reading in the world, but just packed with tons of great information. If I close this just to go back, so this is just a quick timeline of important dates that I had on a screen, but just so it's right here for you. This is a very quick, I think it's 1.5 minutes tops, YouTube video on entering course requests in PowerSchool. This was a presentation that was delivered to 9th through 11th grade students just at the high school on Friday, March 10th during homeroom. And then the presentation and recording from tonight will go here. And then this freshman welcome packet will go up in the summer. So this page again, if you go to Princeton High School's main website, click here, course planning. This button will be here until we need to remove it and put up a button for graduation later in the spring. So that button will be there for this winter and early spring. So I think at that point, that will wrap us up. Thank you so much. At one point, we were almost at 250 participants tonight. So just a wonderful turnout. We're very happy and we were all able to stay warm. So that's a great thing. Thank you to my fantastic colleagues for providing so much excellent information. And thank you to all of you who took the time out of your night to be here. And we look very forward to welcoming all the 8th graders and transfers to coming to Princeton High School for the 25-26 school year. If you have any questions, concerns, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you as best we can. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you.
I think, how do I switch over to a different screen? I can't see. Anyways, I have parents here. Do you want to, and I see that there's still 30-something parents. Do you just want to hop onto my Zoom link and then we can huddle a little bit about whatever we didn't finish earlier tonight?
Sure. No problem.
Okay.